So the core set M19, the images have just come out, and I'm filming a group of videos. I have a total of 5 videos, and the first 2 are really looking at the tribal part of the tribal support in the set as it adds to standard. And so this is the first video of 2 only on tribal. And it's mostly Brawl. I think all the decks that I'm thinking about building right now are Brawl, but eventually some may branch to Commander as I use my stash. So what about Magic 2019? It's the first core set in 3 years. It's got a little bit of for everyone, just like any other core set has historically done so. It's got cards that are definitely going to go into standard constructed at various levels. It may have a card or 2 that goes into modern, legacy, vintage. It definitely is going to have some cards that are going to be tried, maybe even successful in Commander. And Brawl is a new format, really is Commander with 60 card decks instead of 100 card decks. And really it's 36 permanents plus 24 lands setup. Like every other core set, Magic 2019 has many reprints. And it's not on a plane. It's not on Kaladesh or any other plane. Now, what is Magic 2019 doing for rotating blocks? So Kaladesh and Amonkhet blocks are about to rotate. They rotate 3 months from now when Guilds of Ravnica, which I like to call German Democratic Republic, GDR, comes out. Of course, as some of you know, but I'm going to talk about this as if you had never heard of this stuff. Kaladesh is an Artifacts Matter block. It's got elves, it's got dwarfs, it's got Etherborn, it's got artificers, it's got energy, which is its own economy, and it's got vehicles. First time that vehicles came out in Kaladesh. Then Amonkhet is a theme set, theme block, Ancient Egypt. I love Ancient Egypt. A lot of people do. It's got zombies, cats, nagas. There's a sub-theme of -1/-1 counters that I think is in Jund. I think it's on a lot of the green, red, black cards. Then what about the non-rotating blocks? The last 4 sets, I'm sorry, the last 3 sets, and then the 4 that are coming after. So Ixalan has various types of cards, various types of tribes. It's got white-black vampires, blue-green merfolk. Of course, there are blue-green and blue-green, and the same for white only, blue only, black only, white-black. And then it's got pirates on Grixis, which is blue, black, red. And it's got dinosaurs on Naya, which is white, red, green. Dominaria, it's got 20 legendaries, some are uncommon. It's made a big splash. One of the key things that it has, I think, the equivalent of energy for Kaladesh is the historic keyword, which is for legendaries, artifacts, and sagas. And then, of course, we're getting 3 Ravnica sets that are coming up beginning in the fall. And when the first fall Ravnica set comes out, Kaladesh, Ether Revolt, Amonkhet, Hour of Devastation rotate out. And then eventually, next summer, Magic 2020 comes out. And then after that, whatever set comes after that, then Ixalan, Rivals of Ixalan, Dominaria, and Magic 2019 will rotate out. Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay, so I think one of the key things that has made me go down this path, looking at Magic Core Set 2019, is that with Brawl, you can have tribal enablers that are actually fairly effective, in my opinion, and I'm going to try these out. So you have Pillar of Origins, which is a 2-drop artifact. They're both from Ixalan. One is uncommon, Pillar of Origins. Vanquisher's Banner is a rare. And when you drop Pillar of Origins and you tap it, you choose the creature type, so you say elf, and then you can add mana of any one color as long as you're casting elves. That's pretty good. And then later on in the game, for a 5-drop, you get an anthem. That's what these are usually called in Magic, anthems, that'll give your creatures +1/+1. I think these 2 cards are great for a casual player. and I have them online, and I plan to build. I've already built many decks. The decks that I'll be showing in this, I guess it's a review of Magic 2019, but it's really from my own perspective for what I want to do with it initially, which is do a bunch of Brawl tribal decks. Now, there are also some other tribal enablers. One of them, Metallic Mimic, is very expensive. I have one that I pulled out of a pack. I don't have it online, but it's going to rotate out with GDR in the fall with Guild of Ravnica. Then you have Unclaimed Territory, which is really a land for tribal, because you choose a creature type, and then you can add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool for that creature type. It's not quite a Cavern of Souls, which makes your creatures uncounterable, but I think it's pretty good. It's an uncommon land, so it should be easy to pull out of a booster box or out of packs of Ixalan. Then you also have Arcane Adaptation, which I have not played with, and I'm not sure I'm going to, where you also choose a creature type, and then all your creatures are that creature type on top of whatever they are. And that is pretty good if you want to use the anthems to say, you know, all elves get +1/+1. So in the case of Radiant Destiny, it's an enchantment from Rivals of Ixalan. As long as you have Ascend, you can choose a creature type, and then it becomes an anthem, and it's for 2 white, so it's more versatile than your typical anthems that are 1 white. Okay, so but you have to have the City's Blessing, which really means that at one point, while this was on board, you had to control 10 or more permanents. Of course, with the City's Blessing, it just stays with you even if your count goes down, which is pretty good. Okay, so now we're at the 7-minute mark. I am going to take my time in this video. This is not one of my camcorder videos that I have to rush for 15 minutes. I can really take my time. So if you guys are up for it, I'm going to go through the tribes in really gory detail from 2 perspectives. I'm going to go through the tribes that I know are going to get rotated out. They're going to lose a lot of support, but we don't really know what's going to be in Guild of Ravnica. And so, for example, I'll give you so everything on the right-hand side of this table, the right set of columns, Avatar, Druid, Elf, Artificer, and so on, are tribes that I think are going to get hit hard, unless Guild of Ravnica comes in and has a bunch of elves. So I'll give you the example of elves. It's the 3rd one down after Avatar and Druid. So there are 8 elves that are not rotating. The M means that it is not rotating. But there are 21 elves that are actually rotating. That's the Y. The Y column says 21. These columns are not that helpful. That's why I'm going to take my time to explain them. I should have done them in a little different way. Now, M19 is coming in with 8 other elves, which means that in the fall, when Amonkhet and Kaladesh rotate, in the fall column, you're still going to have 16 elves. Well, if you're building a Brawl deck, you really need more than 24 elves, because you want to be able to pick the best elves for your Brawl deck. You want to have maybe 30, okay? Now, right now, while Kaladesh and Amonkhet are still in Standard with M19, there are a total of 21. Okay, I mean, I'm sorry, of 29, because there's the 8 that are coming in from M19, and then there's the 21 that are rotating, and that's 29, plus the 8 that were not rotating, and that's 37. So and I'm sorry, this sounds very confusing, and I'm gonna be talking about these columns throughout the whole discussion, and I hope I can convey the information correctly. The bottom line is the all M19 column says, right now, when M19 hits, how many elves do I have? I have 37 total elves. Okay, that's really good. Now, it's not so good in the fall because 21 drop out, the Y column. So 37 minus 21 leaves me the fall column, which is 16. And so you're going to have 2 phases of deck building as GDR hits. You're going to have a phase of deck building with elves that is going to last us all summer with 37 elves. And then let's assume that GDR, Guilds of Ravnica, has 0 elves. You would have 16. Now we all know that elves are supported in Ravnica. And so that means that I hope that not just Guilds of Ravnica, but all 3 sets together build us up so we can have a Brawl deck for elves after this summer. For at least this summer, we do have 37. Okay, so going down the list for the all M19 column, for as long as these sets have not rotated out, which it doesn't happen until the fall, we're going to have 29 Druids, we're going to have 59 Artificers, 28 Birds, not that anyone would care, but anyways, 36 Constructs, even though they don't really help each other that much, and so on. And so what I have highlighted in cream color are really the decks that I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about elves, artificers, constructs, zombies, and dwarves. And if I take you back to my previous slide, okay, it's all about the fact that we do have these artifacts that can be used for any one of these decks. So these decks come in prepackaged with 2 artifacts that you can use out of your 36 to help any tribe, as long as you have the numbers and as long as every single card in the deck is of that tribe. And I'm going to try those decks, okay? And that deck building is going to help me understand the tribal part of M19. Again, this is one of the 2 videos. In the first video, I'm really going through all the decks on the right-hand side, and then near the end of this video, I'm going to touch on humans, dinosaurs, pirates, merfolk, and vampires. And then in the second video, I go through all the other ones that are on the left-hand side. So, okay, so the left-hand side table is the happy one, because you don't really care how much rotates out in the fall if you have 68 dinosaurs coming out of Ixalan. Okay, M19 is only giving you 3, so in the fall, you're going to have 71, but nothing rotates. The Y column for dinosaurs is 0. There are 0 dinosaurs in Kaladesh and Amonkhet. Now, warriors, for example, get hit hard. You have 67 warriors that are going to be rotating out, but you're still left with 40 in the fall, and it is fair to assume that Guilds of Ravnica will have a few more. Okay, and even 40 is a good start to get down to your 36. You got to find 4 warriors that I think are not the best ones for your deck. Okay, so I think I've beaten this table to death. We're at the 13-minute mark, but I hope I've been able to convey what this table is doing. Okay, and in each of the tribes that I talk about from now on, I'm going to clip that table and just show that specific tribe. So now if you go to dwarves, okay, all of M19 is bringing 2, and all the other 23 that are currently in standard are all going out. So a dwarf deck using my favorite 2 new friends from Ixalan that boost them up, those 2 artifacts, and anything that helps dwarves within the tribe, it's something that you can only do right now, and really it's going to be tight. It's going to be really tight. Now I have built a dwarf deck using the Pala as the commander for Brawl. I should say the Brawl leader. I don't know if I should use the word commander. And I'm going to play it out and see how it goes. I've played the dwarves a lot before, so this is really a Kaladesh only, effectively a Kaladesh deck. It does get a little help from the other sets, but all the critters, all your creatures are dwarves that are coming from Kaladesh. And I'm planning to build a Kaladesh Amonkhet sort of selection after they rotate with all those cards, and maybe even couple them with some Theros cards, because there's gods in Amonkhet and also in Theros. Okay, so I'm highlighting here that I have some vehicles in that deck, and I've got my 2 favorite friends, Vanquisher's Banner and Pillar of Origins. When we go to Artificers in M19, and again, now you're beginning to see the theme of how I'm going through this. Okay, I am introducing the M19 cards and putting them in context with everything else that is currently in standard. All right, so when we go to Artificers, you do have Psy Master Thopterist as a commander that you can have a mono blue Artificer deck. There's a blue artifacts theme coming in M19, where, for example, Skilled Animator, when it enters the battlefield, you can turn one of your artifacts into a 5/5 creature. Okay, a little bit of a theme like this happened in one of the later courses. If I remember correctly, it was either M14 or M15 that had an enchantment that turned an artifact into a 5/5 flyer, if I remember correctly. Then Scholar of Stars is a common that also, when it enters the battlefield, if you control an artifact, you get to draw a card. So if we look at Psy Master Thopterist, whenever you cast an artifact spell, it cranks out a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. You can sack 2 artifacts for 1 blue and draw a card. That's pretty good. I'm not sure that's going to be enough to make a Brawl deck. Well, there may be, but not all the Artificers are blue. So I think I would do something else. Now there are other Artificers. The Dwarf that I just showed in the previous selection is also an Artificer. And so at the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains indestructible until end of turn. So that tells me that maybe I want to do a white-blue artifacts, a control artifacts deck. Then the Aviation Pioneer, when it enters, you get a 1/1 Thopter token. And then the Gearsmith Prodigy, which is a 1-drop blue, gets +1/+0 as long as you control an artifact. So there you have it for that. Again, like I mentioned, there are many Artificers, hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, including Joyra and Tiana and Rona from Dominaria. Padim, I don't think it's that great because it does give your artifacts hexproof, but he ain't doing much. And I already tried Piana Lara, I wasn't crazy about it, and also Ovilla. Then, of course, Tesseret is coming in with a Thopter theme, even though, besides the fact that tokens are created, I don't see what else is going on in here. But again, you know, it's a 5-drop Walker. It's going to be good in Standard, I'm sure. With a 0, you can draw a card. You can draw 2 if you control 3 or more artifacts. And if we look at the emblem, of course, the +1 pumps out a 1/1 Thopter, which I think is pretty weak because +1 of Garruk Primal Hunter GPH kicks out a 3/3. So the emblem, at the beginning of your end step, search your library for a permanent card, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle your library. It better be a good permanent. You put it onto the battlefield without really paying its mana cost. Yeah, it better be good. And of course, there is a Thopter, and when it enters the battlefield, it gains you 1 card, draws you a card, and it's a 3/1/1. Okay, I did build a Joyra Artificer deck, and I'm going to name that tribe with Vanquisher's banner. I'll see how it goes. I did put in a couple of the historic cards, and also Joyra is going to give you card draw based on historic, and the deck has a total of 15 artifacts and 3 legendary non-artifact creatures. So it's got a pretty good count out of the 36 permanents that are not lands. When it comes to constructs, there's just one, a 5/3/5 coming in at M19. In the fall, it's going to get slaughtered unless GDR comes in with constructs. Right now you have 36, so you can really go construct crazy. I built a Tiana construct deck just for fun. I put in SRAM, so it's going to have vehicles and auras and equipments, and hopefully it's going to draw me a bunch of cards. I'll play it, let's see what happens while I wait for M19, but M19 is not going to do that much for me. And I think you're beginning to see a theme. All the tribes that I'm discussing right now in the beginning of the video are really tribes that are not getting a heck of a lot of help from M19. Elves also, incredibly enough, very interestingly, M19 is coming in with Skyrider Patrol, which is blue, green. Could it be that there will be Simic elves at some point in the next block, in the Ravnica 3, what I call Ravnica 3 block? That would be very interesting, because we already have green-black elves, especially from Return to Ravnica. And that means that you could do a green-blue-black elf deck in Commander. Very interesting in my opinion. Now you're going to have 37 elves. By the fall, you're going to have 16 plus whatever GDR kicks in. And of course, M19 is reprinting Ghirapur Guide and Druid of the Cowl. These are two from the Kaladesh block. It's bringing in some new ones. Very interesting elves in my opinion. Thorn Lieutenant, rare. When it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, kicks out a 1/1 green elf warrior token. For 6, it gets +4/+4. That's okay. It's a 2-drop elf. That's pretty good. Elvish Clan Color, 2-drop, 1/1. It's a Lord. That's fantastic. A 2-drop elf Lord, I think, is fantastic. At 6-drop, you're tutoring another one. That's really good. That's not going to be a brawl move. That's not going to be a commander move. That's going to be a constructive move. I think that's really great. I think this card is going to be very good in constructed elf decks. Then the Rejuvenator. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library, and you may put a land card among them on the battlefield tap. I really like these. Instead into your hand, you put it on the battlefield. And then it doesn't feed the graveyard. You just put them at the bottom of your library. That's pretty good. That's a comment. Then the Poison Tip Archer is a 2-black-green elf archer, and it's an uncommon. Another great build-around uncommon in this set. It's got reach and death touch, and it's a 4/2/3. That's pretty good. It doesn't do anything special, but it's got death touch, which can really slow down your opponent. Then the Sentinel's got vigilance. The little rare on elves, it's a common, a bear, 2/2/2. Then Reclamation Sage, finally getting a reprint. This card was getting expensive because it's an all-star in Commander, because as the ETB, as he enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. So it's got a naturalized stapled on it, and it's already a 3/2/1. So I've been keeping a Marwyn deck, and I've been playing it in solitaire because I try sometimes when I play my decks, everybody's playing their Karns and their Planeswalkers. So we'll see how it does, but I may unleash it on the unsuspecting competitive players of Magic Online. And of course, I'm using Rona's Monument. I have played the deck against people and also piloted it. Okay. Now for the zombies, the fall is going to be ugly unless Guilds of Ravnica comes in with zombies, and we expect it too. But right now, you've got all of 44 zombies in Standard. So Death Baron, which I think is from the original Ravnica, as a reprint. I didn't look it up, and I should have. It's a zombie wizard, and it lords your zombies for 3/2/2. Zombies you control get +1/+1 and have death touch. That's fantastic. I love this card. The Gowl comes from Innistrad, I believe. And it enters tap, but it's a 1/2/2. And then Graveyard Marshal is a 2/3/2. And for 2 black, you can exile a creature card from your graveyard and pump out a 2/2 black zombie creature token, and it's repeatable. So if you have multiples of 2 black mana, you can pump out zombies. I really like this card. I think it's great. Okay, so then Infectious Horror is one of your limited jank zombies, and when it attacks, each opponent loses 2 life. It's not bad, but it's a 4/2/2. The Lick requires an artifact, and that's tricky. I have played the Lick before. Or is it Lich? Okay, let's call him Lich. Lich is tricky, and I have played him because you put a counter on an artifact, and that artifact better remain on the board, because if it's no longer on the board, you got no counters on any artifact and this thing dies. But it's a 5/5 indestructible for 3 mana. Then the Liliana of M19, it's a 4-drop. That's a good sign already, because 5 and above tend to be standard only planeswalkers, unless they're crazy powerful. So put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. If at least one of them is a zombie, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. That's pretty good. So it comes in and it's already at a 5 when you +1 it. That's reasonable protection, but you're gonna probably have to have a critter in front of it to keep it going. Then the -2, target creature gets -X/-X, where X is the number of zombies. That is not as great as the Liliana of the Dark Realms, if I remember correctly, where the X is the number of swamps you control, if I remember correctly. You may not have that many zombies, so I'm not thrilled about that. Now, -3, you may cast zombie cards from your graveyard this turn. You better have a whole bunch of them, and it doesn't say cast them without paying their mana cost. Okay, and that's the issue here, that you're gonna have to have the mana for it. Okay, so let's keep on going with the zombies of M19. Open the Graves. I think it's good, but it's a 5-drop, so really, I don't know. It's a little heavy. But yeah, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you get a 2/2 zombie. That's pretty good. Then your 1-drop zombie, when it enters the battlefield or dies, you self-mill for 3. That's also not bad. And then your 4/4/2 common zombie, 2-headed dude, has Menace. Okay, and these are reprints. Walking Corpse, I think, originates from Avacyn Restored, and I think I know this because I've got a zillion of Avacyn Restored cards. And then the Doom Dissenter, I think, is from Amonkhet, and I think I can tell that from the art because it's clearly an ancient Egypt kind of theme for the artwork. So we're getting one of the actually, I'm sorry, no, it's a human, but it creates a zombie when it dies. Sorry about that. But you do get a zombie if you sack it or if it dies. So I would like to count it as a zombie. Okay, and I've built a Gonti, even though Gonti is not a zombie. I couldn't really find a good mono black zombie lord. And so for now, I'm going to use Gonti as my zombie lord, and I've built it with the cards that I have online. Okay, and I think I'm going to stop here. I'm at the 28-minute mark, and in the next video, I'm going to go on and talk about humans.